everyone. Welcome back to
Real talk.
that was a dramatic
A
opening.
dramatic pause.
Dramatic pause, exactly. It was written in the script. Um, so before we start the episode, that is not going to be about essay as we promised last
Yeah.
time. um, since there is the newest bonus episode, they call it, of the Quiet on Set. Do you have anything to say about it, Fabi? Do you want to have a little wrap up before we move on to the main
Yeah,
course of this episode?
yes, for sure. I haven't, if I have to be very honest, I haven't seen the fifth episode yet. I will try to watch it, but I do have to say that it seems like this episode came out as a product of all the hype that was
Yeah.
created around this docu-series, and so it
Hmm.
felt less authentic. I don't know what you think.
Yeah. Uh, for me, not only I agree with that sentiment, especially after seeing the opening intro of the episode.
Mhm.
Um, Also considering it is a Discovery product, it
Yeah,
felt very much like a 90 Day Fiancé tell-all kind of episode.
hmm,
Um, which,
yeah,
you know, like 90 Day Fiancé is a reality show, so to have that kind of
yeah,
like tell-all was expected. But the 4 episode documentary was really serious. So to
yeah,
have that at the end as an episode felt very off to me and I stopped watching. So that was my review. That's my
yeah.
review. It felt odd, but I would love to hear your thoughts outside of this podcast if you do watch the 5th episode.
Yes, yes, for sure. I think today I'm gonna give it a try and I'll let you
Mm,
know. And hopefully by the next episode, I'll be
mm,
sharing my thoughts on this final episode, right? I don't think there's going to
mhm,
be any
mhm.
more
Oh, I hope not. If it's like
episodes.
if it's the second tell then you know that's like some
Yeah.
Discovery 90 Day Fiance,
Yes, for sure.
the scheme that they're cooking up there.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah,
Okay.
I think those are our opinions for now. But right now we
Mm,
have a different topic, and this is
mm,
going to be an interesting conversation. And I think
I
this
think so.
might be a little
Controversial, to say the
controversial,
least.
yeah, to some fans of this particular film director. So we'll
Hmm.
see how that goes. So why don't you share the topic, the film of today's conversation?
Okay, so today we are talking about Oppenheimer.
The world will remember this day.
Our work here will ensure a peace mankind has never seen.
So
Hmm.
basically, this film revolves around the this historic figure, scientific figure, which was Oppenheimer. I don't remember his entire name, but Oppenheimer, the last name, very well known,
Hmm.
I think. Scientist, but more so physicist.
Physicist, I think, yeah.
Exactly,
But
which
that's science, right? Let's not.
yeah, you're right.
That's
Yeah.
this is science.
I guess
Like maybe
scientists,
the science people will comment now down below. That
yeah.
is not science.
Illiterate!
Well, so I mean, scientist slash physicist, just to
Hmm.
make that distinction, but he pretty much helped to build the nuclear bomb or the
Mhm,
atomic bomb. There's
mhm.
also a distinction between those terms, but then again, I'm not very knowledgeable, so I'm just gonna try my best. From
Right.
what I remember from the movie, it was a bomb that functioned with a fission process,
Mm,
like,
mm,
well, and there are other bombs that work with fusion and stuff. But anyways, so this is a nuclear bomb, which basically it was used to
oh,
attack the Japanese later on.
yeah, yeah.
And yeah, so we see in this film like all the story behind Oppenheimer's life and this
Mhm,
great moment, which was kind of like the pinnacle of his career as a physicist, which
mhm,
was the construction or the building of this bomb.
mhm.
And also his guilt, right? Because I think that's
Yeah.
a big part of
Or
it.
at least that's what we think the point of
Right.
the movie is, right?
Yes, I think so. Exactly. The
You
director is the one and only Christopher Nolan. And
wonderfully.
yeah, we have I think we have seen a good amount of movies from Christopher Nolan, but I know Johannes
Mhm.
has more like stronger opinions on him.
I no, that's totally fair. I think Christopher Nolan is a respectable director. It's just that
Yes.
his last two movies that I've seen, I did not
Yeah.
like.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my current feeling towards him.
Yeah.
But so like the Dark Knight stuff, we were talking about it, we
Mm-hmm.
liked it.
Yeah.
I just feel like he has evolved to be a different kind of director than his previous stuff, and we can talk about
Mm-hmm.
it more. And I just think it's maybe at worst not my style, and I will just stay away from it.
Yeah, I
Um,
think for me it is going towards the same direction, sadly. I had a lot of expectations for this film. I have to say
mhm.
I was part of the hype too. I like
Me too. Me too,
yeah,
actually.
I'm sorry, not Christopher Killian Murphy's acting, and
Right.
so I thought
Because the
maybe
cast as well, right? Like it
mm-hmm.
had a stellar cast. I feel like Christopher Nolan, this is just me imagining, after he wrote the script, he literally just went through his like contacts on his phone and like, okay, like just send a massive, like the same message to everyone and like, hey, want to be in the movie? That's what I think
Yeah,
he did.
yeah.
Uh,
You're
there's so
right.
many.
Also, there's a particular interesting fact about how the script for this film was written now that I'm starting to remember, and I don't know if you came across that information as well, but this script was written in the first person, so as if it
Mhm,
was told by Oppenheimer himself, but also
mhm,
like if Oppenheimer had written the script or something.
mhm,
It was a little weird, I have to be honest. It was a little weird.
mhm.
But I guess it is a technique, right? Or a way to express it. I don't really know.
I don't know.
We all make choices, but that was a choice.
Anyway, so important actors in this film, uh Cillian Murphy, Emily Blunt, and Robert Downey
Florence
Jr.,
Pugh.
right?
Yeah, Robert Downey. Yeah, I think if we start casting the list of casts, I think we'll be here all day.
Yeah, no,
Um,
yeah, exactly. I think just with those three, we're
those
fine,
are the
right?
people
Exactly.
who were nominated for Oscars. So I guess those are the creme de la creme, according
Yeah.
to the Academy, not according to us. So don't don't place the blame on us.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think we could start by talking about what we like, maybe the
Yes.
little that we like, but still there were some
Mhm.
things that we like.
Um, as someone who watched more of the film than me,
Mhm.
um, why don't you tell me about what you like about it? Because I Have to be honest, I only saw like, I don't know, 30-ish minutes of it because I feel like, and roast me in the comments again if you want to. Oh, TikTok attention span. I don't even have TikTok, so it's not even the attention span. Okay, I watch
Yeah.
Killers of the Flower Moon. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Me
watch
too.
June too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yes, I'm put off by movies that tend to be too long because I do think there are, there are a lot of things that you can say in a shorter amount of time. But as a director, screenwriter, um, if you would like to say something and require more length of time and people's attention, I surely do hope that it is interesting, at least to the majority of people. And maybe I'm wrong, I'm in the minority because a lot of people found it interesting. But for me, I found it to be completely boring. It
It was
was a
boring.
Saturday night. My husband and I decided to watch the movie, and then I don't know, it was just such a boring story,
Yeah.
and I didn't find him
Underwhelming.
compelling. And
Yeah.
the only bit that I saw what I liked was just a little bit of the acting, but that's about it. I mean, it's Killian Murphy. You know that he's gonna be good at acting. So
Yeah.
for me, it's not exactly like a like that I have about the movie. So that's what I think. What about
No,
you?
that's fair. I also was bored. It was
Mhm.
an underwhelming feeling. I was just saying,
Mhm. Yes, underwhelming is a great
yes, it
adjective. I
was,
felt that way too.
it just didn't reach the expectations that I had in mind. And what I have to say about the positive aspects of this film, I don't have many, to be honest, and I think we're gonna dive deeper into why some of these aspects could have been better developed
Mhm.
or they could have spread to wider aspects. But basically, the acting, like you said, I liked it. So I really
Mhm.
liked Cillian Murphy's acting, and I found Emily Blunt's acting to be also quite outstanding. And of course, Robert Downey Jr. doing
Mhm.
his part of the work very, I don't know,
Mhm.
just excelling at it. And
Mhm.
the second aspect that I liked was the visuals and the music. It is a soundtrack that was composed. This I researched because I wasn't really familiar with the name of this
Mhm.
composer, by a Swedish composer by the name of Ludwig Göransson. I'm sorry, I don't really know how to pronounce that.
Ludwig Göransson.
But
Mhm.
besides that, I don't really know if I have anything else positive to say about this film. And I think that's, I don't know, people
And I
will.
think that's why we dislike it,
Mhm.
right? There's like more negatives
Yeah,
than positive.
positive, exactly. I
Mhm.
don't really know. If something comes up while we're talking, I'll mention it. But I want to
Sure.
know, Yon, what else do you like about this film, if any?
I think I mean, from the bit that I remember and I saw, I think your points are right. The acting, the music. Maybe I would disagree in the visual because like all of the
Mm-hmm.
sciencey stuff I didn't like, but
Mm-hmm.
to each their own.
Yeah.
And I think now it's time to defend ourselves in a way, to like say,
Exposing our
um,
arguments. Yeah.
exposing, to
Exhibit
just like
A.
say
Yeah, yeah,
why
yeah.
we didn't like the film.
Okay, so I didn't like the editing. Maybe some more experienced editors might disagree with me. I have no clue really about editing. Well, no, I do have some clue about it. I have
Mhm.
little experience. However, I felt that there were many cuts throughout the film, and they were quite fast for you to follow. And also, we
Mm-hmm.
have to keep in mind that this film was constantly doing
Jump.
like time jumps
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and going to the past and then to the present and
Mm-hmm.
so on. So I felt that the cuts were not aiding to the understanding of the film's storyline.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
made it just more confusing. At least to me, it was confusing.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that editing could have been a bit more like smoother. What do you
Mm-hmm.
think?
Have you seen Bohemian Rhapsody? Did you see that?
Oh, yes, I did. I
There
did. I
was a
did.
lot of talk about the editing as well. What
There
do you,
was, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And
what do you think?
I saw it. I also, I mean, I saw the I don't want to say mistakes, but just the decisions made with the
Mhm.
editing style. I didn't like it. I don't think it
Okay.
is as bad as what happened to that movie, but I will
Okay.
say that it
Okay.
was
I was
just
wondering.
a lot of cuts. For me, it was just
Yeah.
too many
And
cuts.
you know what's funny is that I think for some people who are maybe like less trained, because I
Yeah.
think you need to have a certain knowledge, and I'm not saying that I'm knowledgeable, but like the
Hmm.
first time that I watched it, I didn't really see that much issues with it. And then after people say it, I'm like, ah, okay, that's what they
Yes.
mean. Because I
Hmm.
think without analyzing and having the knowledge for what is wrong, like for example, if you like my dad is an action movie fanatic, and
Mine too.
I grew up watching action movies with him, and those have like a billion cuts when
Yes.
they're fighting. So maybe my brain is used to that. So like the cuts didn't do anything to me unless I do some like critical thinking.
Hmm.
Um, so I think it could have been that. And
Yeah,
maybe also a lot of people, like when it comes to Oppenheimer, to go back to it, because people trust in Nolan's vision that they don't
of
question
course. Yeah.
the. And I think it has something to do with that too. At the end of the day, I mean, I don't know about all of the praises, but um, because to go to my point on to why I dislike it,
Hmm.
um, I think the most important thing, especially because I gave up on it super fast.
Hmm.
I just thought that the movie was just about some douchebag genius, and I
Right.
didn't think he was compelling. Like I
Yeah.
remember this scene of like how he learned, was it French or something, to give like a talk, and then
Dutch.
he was
I
just like,
think
yeah,
Dutch.
oh, Dutch, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, oh yeah, I just like learned it in a day. And it's like, oh yeah, why? Because I have to give the speech. And it's like, I don't know, like it's very smug of the person. I'm not saying that your main character needs to be a lovable character, but it needs to be interesting enough. I just think
Yeah.
those kind of characters are not interesting to me. So I would like to not know about them. Like in fact, in real life, if I see them in real life, I will be staying away from them because I'm like, okay, what are you talking about? You're so annoying. For me, those kind of people are obnoxious. So I would like to not know about their life if
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it was super, I don't know. And
Yeah.
like the parts that I saw was very sciency,
Hmm.
um,
There was
and
a lot of
felt
science. Yeah.
it was a lot of science.
But I have to
And
agree with you. I'm sorry, go
mhm.
on. I'll get
No, no,
back
no,
to
no,
it
no.
later.
And it's just for me, like I was put off by that.
Yeah, I agree with you because I thought that the characters could have been more relatable to us.
Yes,
And
yes.
Oppenheimer, I think in the film, there are many
Mm-hmm.
flaws that are presented to us from this
Mm-hmm.
character, as well as Emily Blunt's, as well as Robert Downey Jr.'s character, I'm sorry. And
Mm-hmm.
for a moment, I think what I wanted to see was something to which I could relate or at least empathize and realize that those are still likable characters in
Yeah.
some aspect,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
okay, the
Mm-hmm.
first thing that I think we see is that Oppenheimer is very anxious. He was, I think, clinically depressed at the time in the beginning of the story. He even
Mm-hmm.
tried to attempt to one of his university professors in some way. I'm not going to
Mm-hmm.
spoil it, but
Mm-hmm.
those are all horrible things. And then we go to Robert Downey Jr.'s, and he's basically um, only ambition driven. And
Mm-hmm.
I think there was no like I don't know, there was no aspect of them as people, like I mean as characters, but as people
Yeah.
that I could say, okay, I understand, like I do relate, I feel for them. They're
Mm-hmm.
still good, right? Because you could say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, he's such a like a, I don't know, a douchey scientist, but he's a
Yeah.
good father, but he's a good friend.
Right.
And I think he did show some like traits of being a good friend
Mm-hmm.
to his
Mm-hmm.
fellow like scientists. I don't know, like
Like the ones who are in the project,
exactly,
right? I
exactly,
assume.
yeah,
Yeah.
co-workers or colleagues. But
Yeah.
it was too little for me, so I completely agree with you. It
Yeah,
was,
because I think again, this could be why um I have seen some comments about like of people who didn't like the movie, and they're saying that it's almost like they're confused of what they're trying to say. And I think this is
mm-hmm.
partly due to your movie being so long. When your movie is so long, people are gonna
Mm-hmm.
like be confused as to what is it that you're trying to say. Um, and if what you're trying to say is, you know, that Oppenheimer was a genius, but he was lonely, depressed, he felt guilty
Yeah.
afterwards, then
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we should focus more on that. But I feel like it was about everything. It also felt like a historical drama. There was
Yeah,
the trial,
you're
right?
right.
There was some
Mm-hmm.
like, so I feel like it just didn't have that identity that, I don't know, like it didn't have a clear identity of what the
Mm-hmm.
movie was trying to say, of like
Right.
what I thought Nolan wanted to say.
Yeah.
And that's why it just felt like maybe a chore for for me to keep on
Mm-hmm.
watching, because you felt, I don't know, like
Yeah.
like what you were saying earlier about his character,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Right.
um like the character is not at all relatable. Like, oh yeah, one
Yeah.
day I'm going to like create a massive weapon that will kill everyone. Yeah, sure. Like it's not, like you start with that character already, and I feel like it's already at a disadvantage for everyone, or at least for me. Like you already lose me. Like how can that character be that interesting?
Yes, I think you can be at first amazed by his brilliance. I think I
Right.
was in the beginning. I was like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
he was truly a genius. But there's just so little that I could go from there. If he
Mm-hmm.
was a sort of like a kind genius or a, I don't know, more relatable genius, I guess I would have been
Mm-hmm.
more like pleased with the story,
Yeah.
but he was basically a very flawed character, which again, like you said, that's not really an issue, but you have to you have to offer a sort of balance, right? When you
Mm-hmm.
build like characters. So I didn't find that balance with those characters.
Yeah.
And actually, now speaking about characters, I wanted to ask you about one particular character because we talked a little
Mm-hmm.
bit about this character and we included it in our list of negative aspects of this film, and that
Mm-hmm.
is Florence Pugh's character. What do you think
Mm-hmm.
about that character?
I only saw her up until the sex scene, so I
Mm-hmm.
don't know much about her. So maybe you can tell me.
I'll tell you
That's
a
all
little
that I
bit.
saw of her. Um,
Okay. Okay. Well, I think I told you a little bit, but basically, she has a short appearance in the film. I think
mm-hmm,
that first sex scene, and then only a couple of or maybe three instances more where she appears,
mm-hmm.
which are very, very brief. And one of those is again sexual.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I didn't like it, I have to be honest. I thought it was a little forced for characters overall like conception. Like I think the film uh would have worked without her still. And I
Mm-hmm,
think there was a sort of like overly sexualized perspective maybe on this character.
mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm,
I don't know, I've read people saying that it was perfect, that it was like it fit
mm-hmm.
the storyline and it
Yeah,
was needed to understand Oppenheimer's I guess guilt and complicated relationship with his wife.
interesting.
Yeah, something like
Uh-huh.
that. But yeah, that's
Okay.
pretty much what I have to say about Florence Pugh's character.
Yeah, I mean, I just think a part of me, I mean, whoever came out with the Barbenheimer thing over summer last year
Yeah,
was the true MVP. And I
they
agree
were, yeah.
with what Ryan Gosling said at the Oscars when he was presenting with Emily Blunt, that Oppenheimer was like tailing Barbie the entire summer. I mean, and okay, I'm probably wrong because people love Christopher Nolan's work.
Yeah,
But I feel like without that, people who watch Barbie would not be watching Oppenheimer. Like those two movies are completely different for different demographics. And
yeah.
um, I just feel like that also helps Oppenheimer a little bit. And it seems like people were excited because it's his work, but a part of me is wondering if people would have had a different reaction if it was in his film. You know what I mean?
Yes.
If the
Mm-hmm.
cast was the same, let's say, but it was from a different director, would people be more critical of
Mm-hmm.
it?
True. Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
same. Yeah. So I think we have covered the main negative aspects that we
Yeah.
found. So
Hmm.
how much would you rate it, I guess?
If I if I can be totally honest, it's a movie that I
You
would not
can.
recommend
Okay,
to
fair.
anyone that I like. um, it's like feel strongly about this movie, about how I feel super strongly about Tenet. The only difference, which is another Christopher Nolan movie, the only difference is that Tenet, we watched it at the movie theater, so I was forced to sit there.
Yeah.
And currently, I'm in Italy, so I watched it with the original language, which I
Mm-hmm.
could, but it was with Italian translation. And as everyone has said, it was inaudible. The movie was inaudible.
Mm.
And it was so difficult to follow. And this is another thing that I feel like Christopher Nolan is going towards, which is just a lot of mumbo jumbo dialogue. And I
Yeah.
just dislike that. I'm not saying that I don't like dialogues, but I like good dialogues. I don't like a lot of like, I just didn't like that. And with that said, because I feel really strongly about this, I would maybe give it
Mm-hmm.
a 10% because it's 10th of
Ooh.
April and maybe it's a sign. I think 10% is kind enough. Um,
Okay, that was lower than I expected. But
I think it's just because I didn't enjoy it at all and I didn't even finish it. So I think it's
no,
fair.
yeah, it's okay. In my case, I think I'll give it a 60%. Only
Oh,
only because of the elements that we talked about in the beginning.
okay.
I think there's still some sort of appreciation for those
Mm-hmm.
aspects of the film. And I think there's
Mm-hmm.
at some points of the story there are narrative aspects that you would enjoy, I guess, a little.
Ah,
So
uh-huh.
yeah, I think so. There are some like nice interactions, a few, but there are some
Mhm.
nice interactions between characters. So I think that's why, and the visuals, I like them. So I think I'm just
Okay.
um using like those arguments to give it a 60%. But yeah,
Okay.
could have been better.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. So there
Oh,
you have it.
there
We
you have
have,
it.
yeah, these are our opinions, of course. Let us know what you
Mm-hmm.
think about Oppenheimer. Uh,
Yeah, I I just think if I mean, I don't think anyone's going to be watching this. So I feel like I'm safe. But if you do want to, share the love of this video, if you want to share it to your friends and
yeah.
say, like, listen to these two idiots, talking about Oppenheimer, they're so wrong. You are more than welcome.
Yes,
We
please.
welcome the engagement, the discussion. But I
Yeah.
hope you also have heard us out as to why we don't like it and kind of like know at the end of the day, like cinema, TV, everything, it's like for entertainment, right? And you should
Mm-hmm.
watch what you like. Like some people love trash movies and you know, the cinephiles make fun of them because they think that it's pointless. But for some people, they just want entertainment and they want to escape. Like those people are not going to want to watch Oppenheimer, probably, you
Yeah.
know. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's like I don't know, what is it called? There's a lid for every bottle. And
Mm-hmm.
it's super, and I feel like it's super, super subjective, this medium.
It
And
is. It
just
is.
because something wins an Oscar doesn't mean it's the best thing.
Exactly.
um, just because you are defending Christopher Nolan on the internet doesn't mean that he cares about you. You know what I mean? If you like the movie, like we welcome the open discussion, but
Mm-hmm.
please, like, if you're just gonna like say mean things and say bad things,
Yeah.
you know,
No.
keep that to yourself. Like we
Exactly.
want the discussion in like uh I don't know, a
A
productive way.
decent, healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a healthy way. Like, I think you're wrong because this is this, and tell
Exactly.
us your arguments, and we'll comment back.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you for listening to this episode. Please share this episode with whoever you think might like the movie, or maybe they didn't like
this
it
la
so much
Yeah,
as
exactly,
we did.
exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you actually dislike the movie, give this a thumbs up and tell
Yeah,
us. Please tell us that we're not the only ones in the
please.
world. Like we need
No,
friends.
we're not
We need to
alone.
make a club.
Yeah.
Please let us know. And we'll see you again in 2 weeks, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. Stay fresh like the butter popcorn.
Bye.
Bye.